The U.S. keeps picking on China, says this man in Beijing. It feels like the U.S. is bullying China. Another making his views clear. I don't like the U.S. All bad things in the world are caused by the U.S.
Wi-Fi hack allows you to get super...
President Biden promised to be America's uniter-in-chief. We heard him repeat it time and time again during his 2020 campaign and when he first took office. But now the president is once again facing fierce backlash for making divisive comments, sending this message in his commencement address to the graduating class at a historically black school, Howard University, over the weekend.
Stand up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did my inaugural address, to single out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy. I'm not saying this because I'm at a black HBCU. I say it wherever I go.
The most dangerous...
3, 2, 1.
Just be in the middle.
Yeah. Can there be a middle?
All right.
Gotta pick a side. Pick a side. I don't know which side to pick. Don't hate me, guys.
I almost went there too. It's like
I think
so
like
hard.
guiltily, like I'm like happy that I'm not oppressed, but I'm not proud of like things people have done in the past.
When I think of being proud of something, I think of something I worked for, or that I had to do nothing to be white, absolutely nothing, and nothing was taken from me because I was white.
It's like saying I'm a proud white person is a completely different saying than saying I'm a proud black person. Because when you hear I'm a proud black person, I think empowerment, I think strength, I think courage, I think, all these amazing things that the black community has done and accomplished throughout the years. But then when you say I'm a proud white person, already there's so much like hate involved in that.
Thing about that is like how you said, someone who says I'm proud to be black, that's empowerment. Why aren't I allowed to be proud to be white? What makes it wrong?
You haven't been oppressed.
Yeah, what are you proud of? Just your skin color? Because yes, that is wrong.
So you're saying I can't be proud to be white because I don't have a culture?
No, that's not what I'm saying. It's that when white people say they're proud to be white, a lot of times, at least in my opinion, they're talking about their skin color, that they're not a different race. I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
But as like we were talking about, as a proud black person, they've been oppressed, that a lot of their culture was stolen from them. And a lot of reasons that I don't like proud to be white is because it has, the Nazis used it. The KKK used it. I don't want to be associated with any of those things. So I'm just going to completely stay away from that.
Sure, I'm not proud of like what my culture's done, but at the same time, like I would not want to be anything else. If I had to choose another race, I don't know what I would be. I'm okay with where I am, even though I'm getting backlash about being white.
I am proud to be white.
Guilty. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Nermeen Sheikh. The scandal-plagued New York Republican Congress member George Santos pleaded not guilty to 13 federal charges at a courthouse in Long Island Wednesday. He faces 7 counts of wire fraud, 3 counts of money laundering, 2 counts of lying on federal disclosure forms, and 1 count of fraudulently collecting unemployment benefits. Santos spoke to reporters after he was released on a $500,000 bond just hours after turning himself in to the Central Islip Court.
I'm going to fight the witch hunt. I'm going to take care of clearing my name, and I look forward to doing that.
Why would you apply for unemployment benefits when you had a job making $120,000 a year?
Rachel, this is part of my defense. This is inaccurate information, and I will get to clear my name on this. During the pandemic, it wasn't very clear. I don't understand where the government's getting their information, but I will present my facts.
So prosecutors say that you got over $20,000 in unemployment benefits, sir. How is that acceptable?
Ma'am, like I said, my employment was changed during the time. I don't understand where the government's coming from. I'll present my defense to that.
After a successful 2022 campaign for Congress, Santos, if that's his name, was exposed as a serial liar who fabricated his educational background, employment history, and religion. About a dozen House and Senate Republicans have called for Santos to resign, including a number of Republicans. But that doesn't include Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who said he'll wait to see if Santos is convicted. McCarthy spoke to CNN's Manu Raju Wednesday.
Santos said that he's running for re-election. Are you going to support him?
No, I'm not going to support Santos.
You're not? Okay. So will you work to try to defeat him in the primary?
Santos has a lot going on. I think he has other things to focus on his life than running for president.
So you don't plan to support Santos for re-election?
That's what I said.
Republican leaders see Santos's vote as crucial in the House, where the party holds a slim 4-vote majority. If convicted, Santos could face up to 20 years in prison. Another criminal case is looming against Santos in Brazil.
So that's why this Vietnam veteran, combat medic, who took injured and dead soldiers off the helicopters, this is why I did that. Well, I took an oath to defend my country. And then when I got to Vietnam, we committed atrocities. We committed atrocities every single day when I was in Vietnam. I took an oath to defend this government. And when I got to Vietnam, we committed atrocities. I stood next to a ditch in Vietnam, and we murdered 170 Vietnamese people. And you guys don't know that.
Sir, are you all right?
Boy, that was a direct spray.
Woo! Sir, what is your name?
Boy, he got me right.
You guys have anything? There's no medics out here.
Here, I'll give you my card. Somebody needs to get this on film.
Everybody got it.
I mean, really.
Just hold it up.
That's why I'm here.
Was yesterday your first day?
No, I've been here 6 days in a row.
Just don't rub your eye. Do not rub it. Hey, you want to walk back this way? There's water in the tent over here.
Age. The first 2 years of my life, I couldn't even walk. I couldn't even fend for myself. There would be times, I remember it so well, there would be times that I would wake up and there would just be in my pants. I was born at a very young age. The first 2 years of my life, I couldn't even walk. I couldn't even fend for myself. There would be times, I remember it so well, there would be times that I would wake up and there would just be in my pants. I was born at a
be pissed. I'm tagging everybody in this video. This is from the mayor of Texas to his people.
Colorado City, Texas mayor has this to say. Let me hurt some feelings while I have a minute. No one owes you or your family anything, nor is it the local government's responsibility to support you during trying times like this. Sink or swim, it's your choice. The city and the county, along with the power providers and any other services, owes you nothing. I'm sick and tired of people looking for a damn handout. If you do not have electricity, you step up and come up with a game plan to keep your family warm and safe. If you have no water, you deal without and think outside the box to survive and supply water to your family. If you are sitting at home in the cold because you have no power and are sitting there waiting for someone to come and rescue you because you're lazy, is direct result of your raising. Only the strong will survive.
DemocracyNow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. As we turn to an update on a story Democracy Now! Has followed for years. This past Saturday, May 13th, marked the 38th anniversary of the day the city of Philadelphia bombed its own citizens. On that day in 1985, police surrounded the home of MOVE, a black radical liberation organization that was defying orders to vacate. Police flooded the home with water, filled the house with tear gas, and blasted the house with automatic weapons, all failing to dislodge the residents. Finally, police dropped a bomb on the house from a helicopter. 11 people were killed, 6 adults and 5 children. The fire burned an entire city block to the ground, destroying over 60 homes. This is how the bombing was initially reported in Philadelphia on WCAU TV.
I've just been advised that we have new videotape of the episode that apparently ended, we think ended, the move situation tonight, the dropping of an incendiary device. And let's take a careful look at this. 5:27 p.m. State police helicopter drops it. There is the explosion. As you can see, a very dramatic explosion that occurs 30 seconds and really rips into the move compound. There you see the bunker, which soon will go up in flames. And that was the explosion close up. Now, if there's anybody there, standing there, it's obvious they couldn't survive that explosion.
Including big admissions from NATO that Ukraine will become a member of NATO after all. The United States admitting it can't track any of the weapons heading into Ukraine. And President Trump saying that we're all headed for World War III. This may be one of the most dangerous periods in American history. For more context and nuance, let's bring in Colonel Douglas McGregor. Colonel, great to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
So let's start with the comments from NATO Secretary Jens Stoltenberg admitting that Ukraine will become a NATO member. Said it pretty emphatically. Listen.
After the war, like, what's the sort of throat?
So both NATO allies have agreed that Ukraine will become a member of our alliance, but at the same time, that is a long-term perspective. What is the issue now is to ensure that Ukraine prevail as a sovereign independent nation, and that therefore we need to support Ukraine.
I see that the future of Ukraine is to be part of European Union and also member of NATO.
So, Colonel, what are your thoughts on that? NATO, it's getting a new member in Ukraine.
I don't think this is an admission as much as a stated goal. But having said that, I think the real purpose of this is to prevent any negotiations from being held. If you take the position that there is no alternative to NATO membership for Ukraine, you're effectively telling the Russians that their preference for a non-aligned neutral state in Ukraine is no longer up for discussion. That means Russians have to fight this war to the finish. There will be no negotiated settlement. And that's what Washington and London want. I don't think everyone else in Europe shares that view, but that's clearly the attitude in Washington and London.
So just wiping Ukraine off the map is the alternative? That's what Washington and London want?
Well, I don't think they want that necessarily. I know that the Russians don't want that, but you just leave the Russians no choice. If you tell them that at the end of this war, whatever that means and whenever that occurs, that Ukraine will be a member of NATO, that turns everything back to an existential threat to Russia. The Russians know that if they relent in any way, if they admit, for instance, that half of Ukraine can become part of Russia, in other words, the western half or something, then they've got the problem they had back in January and February, which is this huge anti-Russian force, highly trained, well-equipped army ready to attack them. So why would they do that? So this is designed to kill any hope for a negotiated settlement. That's all.
Fascinating. Then, of course, we have President of Ukraine Zelensky saying yesterday that American sons and daughters will have to shed blood in Ukraine. That's what we have to do in order to secure the victory.
You know the drill, boys.
We have to do in order to secure the victory.
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war. And they will have to fight because it's NATO that we're talking about. And they will be dying, God forbid, because it's a horrible thing.
What did you make of that?
Well, there are two things. So first of all, he's admitting the truth. Ukraine cannot win this war. And the losses they've taken fighting the Russians in southern Ukraine have been horrific. The Russians have invited the Ukrainians, now certainly since September, to attack them in southern Ukraine relentlessly. And that's exactly what the Ukrainians have done. And they have taken horrendous losses. In December, January, first part of February, they were losing 1,000 men a day. Before that, it was roughly a battalion a day of 500, 600, 700. I think they're back to about a battalion a day now. It's dropped simply because they've run out of troops. And they've decided that they're going to hold Bakhmut to the last man. There are about 2,000 to 3,000 of them in Bakhmut. They're trying to put more reinforcements in there, but Bakhmut has been a bloodbath for Ukraine. And for every Ukrainian or for every Russian soldier who was killed and wounded, there have been 7 or 8 Ukrainians killed or wounded. This is a losing proposition for them. So in that sense, he's being honest. The only way he can win is with NATO help and specifically with us to come in, because obviously, with the exception of potentially the Poles, nobody else is going to join that. Now, the second part is this. Biden knows and his advisors know that if he tries to commit the United States to war in eastern Ukraine against Russia, he's finished. His administration is finished. It's over. That is not going to happen. That's an impossibility.
So then does Biden want another Afghanistan? I mean, on his resume, we have the Inspector General for the Afghan War, John Sopko, just coming out and saying that the American-made weapons falling into the wrong hands. We can't track any of these weapons. They're falling into all sorts. And now we have the admission that the Russians have captured American weapons. That's another big piece of the story we wanted to ask you about today. So the Inspector General for the Afghan War saying we're literally on the precipice of seeing another disaster like we saw in Afghanistan. I guess that's going to be on Biden.